As we have been discussing about Viveka Khyati. Now this Viveka Jnanam, and we need this Viveka Jnanam that to all Viplava. So that means Samsaya Vipareya Rahita Viveka Ityartha. So without any doubt, without any error. Even if there cannot be slightest doubt. Whereas when we look at the Viveka, the discriminative faculty when we use related to any limited object, if not today, tomorrow there has to be some doubt. That is how different type of discovery takes place. Different types of theory comes up. As we have been talking very clearly, carefully, for decades, Newton theory was ultimate. So we thought that this fellow, whatever has stumbled upon, he did not discover anything, don't worry. Whatever he stumbled upon, it was the ultimate. That is what we have been taught, we were believing. But what happens? Now, few years back, this quantum physics came and destroyed what? Newtonian physics. So that means any discriminative faculty or any discriminative knowledge, better any discriminative knowledge is related to any temporary objects, is subject to improve, is subject to cancellation, because it has to have some type of fluctuation. Whereas here when it talks about aviplava, it has to be Suddham, it has to be Nirmalam. So Suddham means that which is pure, Nirmal also same thing. So that means it cannot go through any sort of changes at any given time. So completely undisturbed, unchallenged. That's why we use the word that is called Jnanam, the definition, Samsaya Vipareya Rahita Jnanam Ityartha. The knowledge that is free from all sort of doubts and all sort of modifications too. It is not that Old Testament is over, New Testament comes. If that is the case, definitely we cannot consider that as Jnanam either. So looking at all these things, we came to the point that when this Viveka Khyati is there, the person goes through 7 stages of thinking. I cannot say the stages that is called as 7 layers of thinking is wrong. So we say 7 stages of thinking which one can make out through the lifestyle. So sometimes this particular explanation creates gradation. Very carefully one has to look at, as I had given hint related to this Yoga Vasishtha. I really didn't have time to look at Yoga Vasishtha. I should have referred now, unfortunately. Actually, personally, in this regard, I have to bring Pujya Swamiji. Pujya Swamiji did not agree with this explanation, especially when it comes to Yoga Vasishtha concept. Because Swamiji's approach was, if a person is Jivan Mukta, how can you classify? But when we look at from yoga standpoint, also looking at the commitments, because Swamiji's approach was entirely different, which when I look at more and more, for his student check, he was entirely different. Sometimes he was giving lot of courage, lot of strength, which was not necessary to be given, but out of compassion he was giving. Most of the time it was misused by the students. So looking at these few aspects in teaching, when you look at these 7 steps, because that's why I am being in Pujya Swamiji very carefully, we need to look at how the thought process of a Jnani Purusha evolves. Because each one says, my Guru is a Jnani Purusha. My Guru is a wise person. My Guru is an enlightened person. What about me? Don't ask, okay? Because telling that my Guru is enlightened, so I want to take credit. So this is one type of amanitvam. Sorry, manitvam, I made a mistake. Manitvam. How? Here we have to see, let me see the 7 stages so that it becomes easier. The first stage is called Karya Vimukti Prajna. So, a state of thinking process. The one who is free from all sort of karya means the person does not feel there is no need to do anything. Wow! So this is the one of the explanation. Wise means Om, Om, Om. When common people say something, you have to say Om, Om, Om. Doesn't do anything, okay? Always sit in one place. Take a couch or lie down, sit once in a while, walk a little bit and come back. And that is how many people portray as wise people. And some of them also became wise, okay? That's another thing. Like, it's like politicians. So, if a few people start saying, you are a leader, that fellow becomes a leader, okay? So that also happens. I don't want to get into, okay? So that's another time. We'll talk some other time, okay? But please don't misunderstand me because I am talking Yoga Sutra today, okay? I don't want to spare anybody, okay? This Karya Vimukti Prajna can take place when Jnana Sunya Avastha happens. So what is that Jnana Sunya Avastha? So Avastha means a state of mind. It's not fluctuates, okay? We are not talking about fluctuation at all. So you come to a state of mind where you don't think that there is anything to be known by you. All curiosity is resolved, not destroyed. There is no curiosity at all. Even if the person is talking next to you something, you don't have curiosity. So, Jnana Shunya Avastha. Because you can understand, that's why we say very carefully, only one can figure it out, whether one is wise or not. We cannot certify anybody that my Guru is or was wise. And my disciples are wise. They give certificate of wisdom, okay? Like you remember one fellow in Chennai those days was giving certificate of enlightenment. So, so 24, I think 2 days or 3 days program you attend. So that program name was enlightenment certificate, enlightenment course. So whoever attends that 3 days, so gets a certificate of enlightenment. In fact, they were eligible to settle in one special country. God knows what happened to that country. That's another chapter, okay? However, so this Gaya Sunya Avastha, where the person is no more curious. And why, how it happens? Because the person comes to the understanding there is nothing to be known. Because by knowing which everything is known, like knowing the clay, the person knows the clay world. You don't have to know each and every clay world, clay pot, this, that, nothing. Because once you know the clay, the whole clay world is known. And moreover, you are focused on clay. If you don't take this example, let us look at this goldsmith, a jewelry shop fellow, owner. So a goldsmith person does not see the jewelry at all, whether it is new model or old model, especially buying time, selling time may think, okay? So buying time, he is a wise person. Only he looks at how much gold your jewelry is having. Based on the gold, whether it's 18 karat or 21 karat or whatever, based on that, these many grams, take this money, get out. You say, no, this is a new model, still is trendy. In fact, I bought just 1 year back. Sorry, where did you buy? Did you buy from here? If you have bought from here, maybe I'll give you some money. If you have bought some other place, sorry, just take this much money, go. So why it happens? It's a practical thing. Because the goldsmith person sees only gold, not the gold work. So here also, when you know the truth on which all these gunas exist, so that means all these gunas only develops all sort of tapas, all sort of conflicts, and because of which what happens now, when things do not move according to the gunas, we say we have pain, dukkha comes. When things move according to the gunas, we have sukham, we are happy. So when the person knows that this is what the job of the guna, so then what happens? You allow the gunas to get engaged in the gunas and you are aside. Bhagavad Gita comes, guna guneshu vartante ityartha. So when this happens, that means the person is no more curious. So when you are not curious, your mind is not distracted. So the person comes to a situation where the person is completely stable. So the stability comes. That's why one of the most important thing comes, because this can be really taken a lot time to explain the Sapta 7 stages. But here I would like to say it is a long process, but one can go through and see it. Then let me go to the next. Second one is called Heya Shunya Avastha. So when we say Heya Shunya Avastha, here is that the person always looks at two things, me and mine. If you look at a common person, always looks at me and mine. So that's why me and you comes. What we put it technically, drushya and drashta. There are two things called drishyam and drashta. I hope you understand the technical words. So drishyam means what? That which is seen, that which is experienced. That means the seer, the one who experiences, the experiencer. So that means what? Me and others. Or I and me. Now all sort of transaction happens based on these two concepts. Now I want to make everything as me, mine. So that object is far away. That person is far away. Now I want to have that person. I want to have that place or object. Now there is a crave. This is how common people live. So here he says, the person doesn't have craving because there is no distance between drushya and drashta. So the drushya vastu, the objects those are being experienced, are not different from me, the drashta ityartha. So when they are not different from me, so whatever I see is me, not even an extension of me. Remember, because this is long back we have dropped. So that means the person never puts any effort, including mental effort, to minimize the distance between drushya and drashta, the object of experience and the experiencer. Is it clear? So that is called heya sunya avastha. Because when you listen to it, you will say, wow. So that means all these things are possible only in nirvikalpa samadhi, nothing else. This is what people think. Enlightenment means in samadhi. If enlightenment is only in samadhi, better we should not be enlightened, okay? Because if you have to be all the time in samadhi, the moment you come out of samadhi, your enlightenment goes away, okay? Only aura moves around. Please understand, it is a commitment. That's why little bit Vedantic approach has to be done, or else it will be disaster. And remember why this is being taught. That background also I would like to give you so that you understand. After one sutra, which sutra is going to come? I hope some of you might have looked at. Yama niyama, okay? So all this coming, okay? So when the yama niyama sadhanas are going to come in details, that means what? Is going to present you tough so that you are not capable, better surrender and do what is to be done. Teaching is very clear. So then he says carefully, the third avastha is called prapya prapta avastha. So prapya prapta avastha means that I have seen what I am supposed to see. What I am interested to achieve, here seen actually. Already I have seen, I have achieved. So for me there is nothing to achieve. And when there is nothing to achieve, there is nothing to lose either. So this also is a process. Why and how also we can see sometimes elaborately. In fact, for this different sutras are there which we have already seen before. In fact, all these stages have been discussed in this chapter itself. If we try to look at different sutras, like this one will be 225. Sutra number 225 talks, if you want to see, also you can see little bit differently. We'll talk. Okay, let me not get into too much, okay? However, then comes Chikirsha Shunya Avastha. So, Chikirsha means there is no desire to do anything. I don't have to do anything. Even if there is no desire to do. Because everything is done. How everything is done? Because karya is bringing karma, is bringing karma phala. So karma phala cannot give me happiness, the freedom. The result of any action is not going to make me happy. And already I am happiness. And if I do karma, it will create again karma phala. Again I have to travel, I have to go through. And moreover, whenever there is a desire to do in a common parlance, that means I am a tamasic fellow. We have discussed very carefully earlier. The more desires I have, the stronger tamas in me. Swamiji, that's why I don't do anything. Don't worry. That means at least in this case some rajas is there, that's why you desire, okay? So that means only tamas. However, then comes Chitta Vimukti Prajna. So when you say Chitta Vimukti Prajna, here the prajna, the knowledge, that releases chitta. So the mind is released. How is it possible? The mind gets released there when your sattva guna is predominant. That's why enlightened person cannot be a lazy person. I know one enlightened person. Now he is very popular in social media and West and whatnot. I cannot forget him. So, in fact, he moves very funny, puts the perfume such a way, even if shaking the hand, he shakes hand, okay, shaking the hand, after that you have to wash your hand. The fellow energy is horrible. And on the top of it, the perfume is so strong that you cannot handle it. But his statements are very strong and popular in the social media and many other places, okay? And he has got some little matted hair here, okay? I gave you the description. It is up to you to catch or not to catch. Now, fellow doesn't take bath, sure. It will not work. I remember one of the professor came and asked Pujya Swamiji, you say that wise man is not, affected or will not be responsible for anything. Suppose a wise person commits a murder. Pujya Swamiji said, look, a wise person cannot kill anybody. You cannot say, suppose when there is a day, there is a night. How is it possible? A darkness and light cannot stay together. How can a wise person will kill? So it is impossible to kill. It will not work. Let me not get into controversy. It's a long thing to discuss, okay? So each of the avasthas can take, we can take a few classes in details, but that is not our aim today. So here, mainly, that when chitta is full of sattva guna, there is sense of fulfillment. That's why fulfillment comes not because of achievement. So people think I am fulfilled because I have achieved. Yes, after food also you are fulfilled. But how long? Suddenly somebody says, wow, Granita has come. Okay, summer Granita. Then what happens to you? There is no space. You understand? You start doing something, some way so that you can bring down all your food, then little bit Granita can enter. Is this called fulfillment? So fulfillment has nothing to do with achievement. But when sattva guna becomes predominant, the more I am embodiment of sattva guna, the more I am fulfilled within. So this is called chitta vimukti prajna. Then comes guna linata. So this guna linata is something where you allow all the gunas to get resolved, the qualities that you have. You allow and it gets resolved, so that you don't put your mind, you don't poke your nose, that's the right one. You don't poke your nose in anything. Like, for example's sake, one of the best example Akhananandji Maharaj used to give for this. Okay, Akhananandji Maharaj used to give a lot of examples for all these avasthas. So who was a great Vedantin. So he used to bring the example of this Odia Baba. So in Vrindavan he was equally very famous, Odia Baba. So one of the thing like Guna Nilata, this example can be appropriate here. So those days this Odia Baba had a wound in the hand. So he was lying down. So from the wound there was some pus. Now ants are climbing and eating those pus in the line. And as they do it, suppose he shakes his hand or something like that, he falls down. Then what this Odia Baba used to do? So nicely pick the ant again, put back, hey, eat. So somebody asked Swamiji, what are you doing? Hey, poor fellow fell down. And we have many stories that, like once it happened, one of the great saints was making chapati. Now the dog comes and snatches away. Now this great saint runs behind the dog with a bottle. So people thought maybe he's going to throw. He's running and says, look, I have not put the butter on the chapati. Please have with butter. Without butter, how can you have? It's not right. Running behind to give butter for the chapati. There are many cases. So which explains that this guna linata. So you allow things to get unfolded. You allow things to happen without any sort of interference. Even if the destruction happens, that's why Lord Krishna example we can keep here. So what did he do? This is what we look at teacher. So what he did, first he had to take the gunas from Arjuna through the arrow. Because Arjuna was a part of Lord Krishna. Both of them came down for a purpose. So before Lord Krishna goes, he has to take all his things back, allowing the guna to resolve. That's why he took it. Not only that, also allowed the whole family to be destroyed. He did not bother. He could have changed. He could have stopped this entire kingdom not to be washed away, not to be drowned. But he just allowed it, let it happen. Because he did not involve, let guna get resolved. So that is called guna linata. And finally comes atma sthiti. So atma sthiti means the person is abiding in one's own self. There is no other thing involved. Put all 7 things together is called Jivan Mukti, living liberated enlightenment. Clear? And of course, as long as the person is alive, is a Jivan Mukta. When the body falls, Vidya Mukti comes. So these are the 7 stages. That's enough for today. More of it we'll see in the next class. Please. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.